What's up guys, Ronaldo here and welcome to this PvP tier list. Now, we're going to go over all of the different arenas. We're going to go over guild, guild, and of course, I'm not on my own. I have some experts here helping me out with these tier lists. Pretty much, if not the best, some of the best content creators there are in Aoe Arena and J&Gio, that's for sure. On one hand, for the arena part, Jordan from J&Gio is gonna help out. And yeah, some of you guys already may know him, right? He is kind of a expert in arena. Just a few days ago, I saw him in the top 10. And also Slate for the Guild Guild is gonna join us as well. She just finished last week on the second place in the Guild Wars. So they are the top of the top. And with that said, welcome Jordan to the video.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. I was just telling him that I've watched so many tier lists in my entire life, but I've never been a part of one. And now I can actually talk about something I love, maybe more than most people. So pretty dope.
Pretty dope. Now you're underselling your expertise here a little. It's okay. So guys, like I said, he is the expert. With that said, I think just get me through this. Give me just one random pick. Who should we talk about first? Now, before we get into the rankings real quick, there's something that you guys need to know in terms of rankings for Arena specifically, right? And that is, in Arena in PvP, there is a certain meta, and therefore the rankings will be based on that meta. Meaning, for example, if Azilatu is in S tier, but let's say Lugaru then is in S plus tier, right, for the single target arena. That doesn't mean that Zillitu is a worse single target hero. It just means that in the current meta, the teams that Lugaru is in are the meta teams, and his kit just fits better for the current meta. But mainly the teams in arena are really built around the lords that you have, and this kinda is really not just the characters that are ranked, but also within perspective of the teams that they slot in, right? If the teams that they're in is a high ranking meta team, they automatically get into a higher bracket than someone who is in a faction, for example, that is not that crazy.
We got to start with the homeboy of all homeboys,
Oh, starting
Alvi.
off hot. I already know what's coming.
Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't really get much better than Valdi. You know, uh, he is, I would say, maybe the best overall arena character, but definitely the, but
Yeah,
definitely the god tier for this. I mean, you can't really beat him.
you cannot
Um,
really beat him, that's right.
And it doesn't really make much sense if you think about it, because you think that he's a single target, but actually he does a lot of AoE damage. So that's the thing, is that it's when when he's plopped down, which is one of the most important times in AoE Arena, he does massive amounts of damage to the people around him. But not only that, when he is first plopped down, he does, and throughout the entire match, does up to 5 different enemies, like single target damage up to 5 different enemies. It's like mind blowing the amount of AoE damage he does. So the only main thing is that his range isn't the best, but it gets the job done. So
He just basically one-shots these people with that chaotic
yeah,
annihilation, right? And with
yeah,
his
yeah,
attack, with the likes of his attack that he can boost himself up to, with the
yeah,
lore bonus that he has for himself,
yeah,
then with the
yeah.
50% on a chance, pretty much often when he's low, to get that huge AoE hit. But that's not really the main reason why he's that crazy in it, right?
Yeah, it's
The main
it's the other
reason
one. Yeah,
is
it's
right here. We already see it here.
everybody knows. Yeah, Ardea. She especially when you can keep her low, she can truly just does not stop. And when you get her, I believe the awakening is A3, where her every kill she gets extends it by 10 seconds. Um, it's uh, it's hard to comprehend there ever being a competition for top place. Ardea
Mhm.
is, I would say, the best character for AoE Arena. But
Yeah, the main reasons, like, there's two things, right, that she has going
mm,
over everyone. Three, actually, thinking about it now. And that is, first up, her range. She is able to hit everyone at the back when they spawn.
Yeah.
Second up, her insane attack makes it that even though when she is not in her ultimate, right, and her
Mm.
ult cost is also low, she
Yeah.
deals a lot of damage, a lot of damage
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
through that. She deals consistent damage, whereas this is where the likes of a Comet, for example, suffers a bit. Once his ult is down, his
Yeah.
damage just
He
drops.
doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas she is super consistent with it. On top of it, she can block, which is crucial for the first waves as well. On
Yeah.
top of that, her cost is nuts. Having 12 cost in arena is disgusting.
Yeah.
Um,
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Mm-mm.
and now, since we already talked about the best ones, let's just go into some more unique heroes first here. So
Sure.
first up, I'm gonna go over. Let me pick someone good, and that is Aatrox. Now, one of
Ooh.
my favorites,
Yeah.
and
He's really surprisingly great. Yeah.
he is really good for AoE Arena,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's gonna be here on the A tier for now. I
If
think.
only his damage was up. If his damage was up, he could be. I think he could be S plus because he has everything else. He costs zero. His respawn time is zero practically. It's like he is a perfect character, but he just really doesn't do enough damage. So I think you can maybe even on a good day put him in S, but I think A is good because he doesn't really work higher tier ones. But
Mm-hmm. Well, as we could put his legendary counterpart,
yeah,
can we, right?
the
So
top leg.
Cerberus, he's kind of similar breed to
Yeah,
um, Aatrox. He has fallen off out of the meta, out of
definitely.
favor
Hmm.
lately because of some arena changes and also because there's kind of different tiers of teams, and
Yeah.
he is not really in that kind of teams that are nowadays used, right?
Yeah, he's not in the whale teams. He's right above the whale team, or right under the whale teams, I would say. So he's still very usable, and you'll see him quite often, but you won't really see him much in Apex Overlord. So
And the big thing really is not only his cost, right? But you
mm,
really need to have a lunacy visor on him.
yeah, required.
Um,
Yeah, definitely required.
most, if not a max out, would even be better, so he can actually survive.
Yep.
Right. So this is a big condition that you need to consider. Who you gonna choose next? Who you wanna talk about next?
All right. Well, I think someone who's very good, but I don't think he'll be super good for very long is Valkyria. Valkyria is very good. I would say she's definitely S plus. The thing is, though, her at least whenever I use her, her damage is abysmal. If she did not have that range, I don't think she'd be used. Um, but it's just she's the only hero that has that range other than Ardea. I feel like the moment there's another hero that comes out that has that range, you're not going to see her anymore. But that's how I feel about it.
Mm, okay, I think actually she's her damage is quite good. She has a lot of things going for her, in my opinion. Now, of course, the current meta really favors her and Ardea, right? So there's that. Um,
Yep.
but also like her factions, the two factions favor her as well. And
Yeah,
being able to
indeed.
be in the same faction as Praetus and in the same faction as Ardea. Of course, Praetus is not that high here, but these are two factors to consider. And uh, her damage is not bad, cause her attack actually scales up a lot, right? And because of her talent, passive.
Yeah, and I will say something that's important to keep in mind is that you're going to use her in a team who gives out with either Dasami or Gwendolyn. And as you can imagine, the huge shields that they put out is going to make her ultimate slam. So if you don't have someone who gives out good shields, then again, I don't know, I don't really feel like she's going to be super useful in just a normal team.
I disagree. I
Yeah.
disagree, and I think this is the reason why she's even S plus. Cause
Oh,
look at
she's
this.
definitely S plus. I agree. She should be S plus because nobody else has a range.
Yeah,
But
look at
yeah,
this. You see,
yeah,
there
yeah.
she is
It's
in a normal
solid,
team,
solid.
in a normal team,
Yeah.
carried by my goat, of course, carried by my goat. But
Mm-mm.
There is also
Yeah, we
someone
should talk
else.
about this lady. I think people really slept on her. I didn't see anybody mention when they're talking about her, nobody mentioned how perfect she is for Arena. I know that she puts out poison, which isn't like super ideal, but I would personally give her an S because that range is fantastic. It's just her the cultists don't really have a great lord right now for Arena. So I high S or medium S. We'll see. But it's very. I think she's a very good character for Arena.
Very stable, of course.
Yeah,
And she, combined with that Valk, as you saw in my team, is kind of my cheat code for not having Ardea. They're
uh,
just both hitting the back lines all the
yeah.
time. And
Also,
then, yeah,
something to mention that's really important is that her A1 is going to give extra block to whoever has the flowers nearby. It's in her basic kit, but when you
yeah,
get the
it's
A1, it's easier to trigger. It's you only need one flower, which is lot easier to get than two, because in arena there's always popping off. So, but when you have her A1, it's only one, and so pretty much everybody's gonna have a constant +1 block, which is super important for the later stages of AoE Arena because it gets very hectic. So
agreed. And then next up, I think we should also, of course, go
yeah,
about the mages, right? There's many
yeah,
mages. I think there's two mages that are a step above that we should
yeah.
talk about together, and then
Like,
about the other ones and why these guys are a step above. And I think most people know who we're going to talk about here at the beginning.
yeah, yeah. This whole faction is kind of a cheesy faction though, because it is very good for the first, maybe the best for the first 5 rounds, right? And then when it starts to get to 6 to 7 to 8, that's when they completely fall apart. I've rarely ever seen these teams survive those later stages. So they're very cheesy, but if you have huge damage, you got the right lords, you can just destroy the most teams, at least not in the higher, but most teams you're going to encounter probably in overlord, lower overlord, you can probably kill them within the first 5 rounds without too much trouble, but it's very cheesy.
It is. Now, you can do a cheesy comp with Laurel and Comet and Boreas and just burst wave after wave after wave after
Yeah,
wave, right? And
yeah.
just, like you said, kill the enemies before anything has happened, right?
Mm,
That's
yeah.
kind of their thing, and that's what they do. And you can work around it like I did here in the arena. Now, don't get it twisted, guys. I'm not a platinum player here. I just don't have my defense teams geared up
Yeah.
any times. Like this, for example, is a bit
Yeah,
rough.
we are currently in single target as the film of
Yeah,
this, so yeah.
I should change that as
Yeah.
my first deployed hero. But we're gonna go over single target later, right? But
Yeah.
you can work around it, right? With something like this is a bit of a different approach. Now I use this approach here because this team right here not only bursts the same as Boreas, but it has more survivability through Dahlia, through Valk, top tier units for the later stages, and also
Yeah,
Cyrene.
I haven't seen this team in action, but it looks very promising just from, just the concept. I like it quite a bit, not gonna lie. So,
It is solid. Like you survived the last round of 480,000 PP enemies
there you go.
for
I
sure.
do want to say something real quick. This is AoE Arena is by far the best designed out of all three because you can use so many different characters and you can actually, unlike most of them, do a little bit of testing and throw in your own wild cards here and there and do very well. So I think that's why AoE is such a good one. And that's why you're seeing so many crazy teams. But I would like to move on to maybe my favorite healer in the game, and that's my new homeboy, Dasami. Dasami is so good, and he's definitely S plus. He's definitely S plus. I There's a million reasons why he's good. First off, top team, as we saw, is chaotic. You need a chaotic healer, but it gets even better because he puts out a massive amount of inspiration, not Dolores levels, but he will have zero problem keeping any of your chaotic people alive. And unlike someone like Elwin, he stops at 50% health. So if you have him A1, he'll also get a 10% shield, which is nice for Valkyrie. But the thing is that he is, he's very easy to build and extremely effective unit that is one of the more under, valued characters in the entire game. Now you look at his reviews, they're disgusting. Like people don't understand him. So
And you can just take a look here, and we
yeah,
see him immediately pop up at Apex
yeah,
above the likes of a Comet, right?
yeah,
Above the likes of a Boreas. And this is
mhm,
why you also decided to put him higher. Now,
yeah,
does that mean that he is individually a better unit? No. This is something I said at the beginning, right? Many of these heroes are placed around their meta comps, and depending how good the comps are, is really how where they stand in the meta. Now, as an AOE hero overall, Comet is miles above Dasomi, right? But the single fact that Dasomi is literally so disgustingly good for the by far best comp for AoE Arena just makes him so good, and this is the reason why he's S plus, right?
yeah,
Just for people that are thinking, right, this looks a bit weird. Why is it the Somi here and these two menaces are S?
yeah.
Right, this is it, and this is also the reason why you see the likes of the Somi so far up. It is just the chaotic show here.
But speaking of which, we might as well talk about Gone.
Speaking of
Or
which, I think we should
or
just put a few
sure,
here.
sure.
So
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah.
and gone. Now, I put these three in here. How
Yeah.
would you place them here in the S plus? All of them chaotics, all of them top tier
Uh,
for AoE.
yeah. I think you're gonna put Gone. I think Gone's me above Valkyria.
Hmm.
And I think Cade is gonna be above Sargak. And maybe above Valkyria. It's hard though. That's difficult. I'll leave it up to you.
I'll leave her here. I'll leave her
All
here
right.
because she's more, um, she's not as much of a gate capped unit as these
Sure.
meta units are.
Sure, sure.
Now, gone. I understand he's the lord for the best faction here, right?
Yeah.
Then Kate and Sargak, they don't make any sense in my head. Leave me three.
Well, that's the thing. Cade has a very good AoE ult. That's kind of his. So if on the right round, if you press his ult, that wave is gone. It's like a chaotic version of Comet in a lot of ways. Um, here we go. Yeah, I mean vulnerable too, but there's just a lot of things that he does. Where if you can keep him alive, he will really. I to be honest, it kind of I don't have him, but the amount of times I've been destroyed by a team with him, really, it's such an undervalued team or member in every other game mode, but here he's definitely one of the best. So I'd say it's pretty surprising, but
It is, it is. He for sure is a menace. Like last week, right? It was just last week when I did my new arena team, and I was just stomping through that new team. I was so happy. And then I saw someone use Kate, and I knew people use Kate, and I was like, I want to see how that works.
yeah.
Now, I'll be honest here. I was stomping everyone. I was getting to high Overlord, and that enemy
Mm.
was a Apex Overlord player with a Kate, and I expected me to lose. I just did it to see how it works. Now I lost. I still have no idea how it works, but he for sure did his
Yeah.
job well.
Yeah, he's still a bit of a mystery to me too. Same as Sargak. I'm not gonna lie, he doesn't make any sense, but it works.
It
And
works.
I think that speaks more to the power of Chaotic than the power of Sargak in this situation at least.
It
Um,
is. It is a bit cheesy, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so then other chaotics we have Carnelian.
yeah,
You could also put her in as plus. She's not the budget version. She is also an expensive unit, right?
yeah,
But she
yeah.
is not as good as the Somi, but she is pretty valuable.
Indeed, yeah, yeah.
Then another chaotix. Let's just go through the chaotix. Giselle. Now
Oh,
Giselle, she has her place on her own.
yeah.
Yeah, it says enough about her to really be able to. There's no unit. I can tell you that can match up with Giselle. So she has her own little tier
It's only
there.
fair. Yeah, yeah.
Totally fair. Now why
Hmm.
it's at the bottom, no one knows. I'll just leave it there.
Yeah. Now we got this guy. I'm gonna be honest. He doesn't really do that much for me. I was thinking high B or low A, but it's up to you. It's up to
We put him
whichever
in
you.
A. We put him in A.
All right.
Um, he's a lord. We take those for
Yeah,
an
sure.
incredibly strong faction,
Yeah,
especially in early game. People won't survive the later stages anyways, which means a lord is valuable because you're not gonna place down most of the heroes anyways. And then uh, we have one more chaotic, and
yeah,
that is when we move on. So lead me
yeah.
through.
So you're definitely gonna get a B on this one. It's really just because her ultimate has an AoE effect. Other than that, you're not really gonna see her. But she's got two really good factions. She's got obviously Chaotic, and she's got Nightmare, which is one of the top four, I would say, in the entire meta for AoE Arena. It's very solid, and she's one of the worst ones on that, but she's still on that. So
Is still on that. So next up, I think we gotta pick it up really quick, huh? So we have the Chaotix.
yeah,
They're the best team here, and they're the best for the AOE arena. They just have the ability in the later rounds to block everything, and when really things get hard, um, and also have the DPS. Now another team that is built like the Chaotix, they are able to go all the way, huh? It's always good to go all the way.
yeah, yeah.
Never beat.
They just take longer to get there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And these are the nightmares. So they are also actually, I'd say, one of the top four meta teams. You can really have a lot of nightmare units. And the only reasons why the nightmares are not so good as the chaotics is really because the nightmare teams, they struggle with cost at the beginning, and they don't have the range of the chaotics, and a little bit less damage.
yeah.
So Torodor, real quick, where is he?
I think definitely S because he is the linchpin. Either you have him or you don't. You know. So
Exactly. If
definitely
if
S.
you have him, you build that team with the nightmares. If you don't, you don't, right?
Yeah.
One of the key units in the nightmare faction is
Oh,
also going to
she's
be
so good. Yeah.
Volca. I think
Yeah.
she's going to be somewhere uh, around Dahlia in a
Yep.
similar level.
I
Um,
agree.
she also provides healing, which is nice as well, not
That's
only
the big
damage.
thing because they usually don't run a healer, so you need her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's a big one. Boom! Magnus. Magnus is actually a menace. He's a menace with the counter-attack and with everything. He can just hit hard in the AoE arena. He blocks. He survives a lot. His range is the only issue. Um, and for all the nightmares, like I said, the cost at the beginning. Now, the GOAT of the nightmare units, really, for the AoE arena, is Hatsut, right?
Yeah.
Hatsut,
So it is. Everybody knows the queen. Yeah.
she is, especially for all Overlord players, all pretty much everyone knows Hatsut. She just dominates the early waves as well, right? Her first
Yeah.
wave
That's
burst
that's the most important thing.
is
Yeah.
kind of
Is her
disgusting.
her first few waves is what makes her important. Her damage after that is pretty, not the best, but the beginning, she's the most important. Yeah.
And then another key component for not only the nightmares, but for literally 90% of the teams is
Yeah.
Cyrene.
Yeah.
Lead me through. What? Who is this chick?
That's the thing is people really would be surprised by this because she has no real good faction, but she just can cost generate like nobody else. And you need the block, right? That's very useful in the very beginning. Block, she gives you the cost generation, and she has no real other good competition. Um, that's why you're gonna see her. Other than that, she has nothing else. So, but she's great. She's required for almost every single like top four team you're gonna see.
100% agreed. You see it here as well. Cyrene, one of the most used heroes, right? Cyrene, one of the most used heroes.
Yeah.
Do you see her here? No, but you see her in my defense. There we go. Even in a completely different lineup, right? I use Cyrene.
Yeah.
You use
Yeah.
Cyrene here in that lineup. You use her in many of the Valderon comps, in Praetos comps. You can
Yeah.
use her in Nightmare comps. She is pretty much
She's
essential.
required. She's
She
required in Nightmare
because the
comps. Yeah.
Nightmares don't have a low cost. She has 10 cost. You can run this Mana Spring set, or you can run the Morale set on her. You want to have the Lunacy Visor on her, that's for
Yeah.
sure. And she is also for the Comet, Laurel, Boreas comps as well a
Required.
key factor.
Yeah.
Exactly. You cannot.
But I don't. Out of the epics, I don't think she's the best one. I would say that Dolores is actually the best of the two.
Also got here above
Yeah. Oh,
Hatsut or not?
above Hatsu. Yeah. Yeah.
Above
Because
Hatsut.
you're gonna find her in. You're gonna find her right now in the best teams in the entire game. She's gonna be in all of them. Like, he is nasty.
Fact checked, and as we can see, top 3 all use
Yeah.
Dolores.
Yeah. It's I don't know how they do it. I haven't been able to get there to fully understand because she's got to heal the team, but obviously she's not great at healing. So that's kind of a benefit and a downside. So it's a real balance, but when you can get it figured out, it's unbeatable, clearly.
It is. It is basically for the guys that don't know why is Dolores up there. You just use her for your chaotics to heal, but her heals are so low that the chaotics stay low, but they don't die, so they get the full value out of her.
Yeah.
Now back to the nightmares. There are a few units we haven't talked about. These are kind of the best ones. Then we have Arrogance,
Yep.
Abomination, and Wrath. Now
Yeah.
Wrath we're gonna put also here.
Yeah. Very fair. Yeah, because the thing is, you guys might be like, why arrogance? Well, it's his ultimate. That's why he's even useful. And Wrath is there because Wrath, he's the only other lord. And he's also able to keep himself alive, which is really important. So he's not going to do as well as Torador, but he's still fantastic. So
100%, 100%. These guys are also good units for your Nightmare comp, just as some of the replacements alternatives.
Yep.
Then we have one more faction that is melee based, ground based, and then we go all mages all out. So Northerners.
Yeah, they're interesting because they used to be the top dog and now they're not. So might as well start with the Lord. I would give him S plus, high S plus, definitely above Valkyria. Yeah, and I would put Gwendolyn uh not a S because she's either used in that comp or she's just like a worse version of a chaotic. So definitely S. Um, but the thing is that they have the range. So yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah. Um, they have Valkyria and they have Ardea. So it's like, it doesn't get much better than that. And the thing is, they are able to stay alive and kill the waves very quickly, just not as quickly as the new chaotic teams with Valley. So
They're just really stable, right? They have two of the best heroes in terms of range, right? With Valk, with Ardea in their faction. They have a good lord.
yeah, and
Bonus.
yeah, and who else are we missing here for there's one we're missing for their thing.
Astrid.
Sure. Sure, I haven't personally seen her. So,
You can put her in there.
King Hearts is pretty much if you don't have Thor, you got King Hearts. And a little bit better than Adriel, no, Estrid. So Solde. A little better than a Solde, but not by much. So he's probably gonna get an A, like so definitely better than the those
Here.
other two guys.
Right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, pretty comfy.
So yeah, but usually you really want to start running that team if you have
Yeah,
the likes of an Elder and at least one of these. If you don't, then don't even
it's
bother.
yeah, don't even bother. Yeah,
Then
and a Solde, I would give B.
Isolde is B, so she's just
Yeah.
your
If
last
you're really
resort,
desperate,
your
yeah, yeah,
last resort option.
yeah.
Then Now here's the absolute wild card for AoE Arena, and that's Leia, ladies and gentlemen. Now Leia, you guys all know me. Big fan of Leia. She been there for me ever since. She
Yeah.
been everywhere. Um, Lovely lady, pretty lady. Can play some nice music as well.
Yeah.
And how should I say? Now how should I say this? She's actually going to go up, 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 right behind Dahlia. That's right, guys. Leia. And that's not just cause I have her. If it was about me, she would be #1 god tier. But, guys, it's not me who makes the rules. It's the Espada Zero guy who makes the rules, right?
That's who I listen to personally. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the type of guy you want to listen to. Absolute Giga Chat with the Leia in the AoE arena. And he's not the only one with the Leia in the AoE arena, which is crazy. And he's top 14. And now he has an A5 Leia. The other one that I saw had an A0 Leia. And her artifact, if you have her artifact, even crazier, even crazier. And really, you see all these Valderum Praetus, Ardea, this and that, this and that. And then you see this guy. And you just have to put some respect on this guy's name. You put some respect on my girl Leia. Get her in there in S tier. Unmatched. Unmatched. What can I say? Do you agree with me?
She's definitely matched by Dasami, but if not more than matched, but I'll give it to you.
Not matched. Continue.
Definitely not matched. Actually, the best hero in the game. Now that I think about it. Yeah.
True, true, true.
But all right. So the thing is, I feel like something that we haven't really talked about yet, which is a meta team that's been there for a while, is the Araka team with Nyx. Araka and Nyx are a really deadly combo, but you need something very rare, and that's an A5 Nyx. An A3 Nyx gets the job done, but A5 Nyx is where you're talking Overlord or like high Overlord, Apex Overlord, depending on the day. But so Araka, she doesn't really do anything except block people, so you're probably going to put her in A. Nyx, yeah, probably around there. Yeah, Nyx, high S, because she again A5 only high S.
That's high S. That's still high S.
Yeah. We
Right
got a
below
lot
the
more people.
Leia.
Yeah.
Right below
Sure,
the
sure.
Can't
Yeah.
match the Leia, of course.
Yeah.
Now Nyx, for the guys that don't know, why is she so good? It's basically her ult is just so long. It is mental. Her ult is just so long.
Yeah.
Do we have the awakenings here? No. But basically, she just has her ult up and she just shreds one wave. Next wave comes in. She's still in her ult, shredding again, and
So that's the thing.
continues.
Her A3 allows it so whenever she gets a kill, her ult extends. So that's why A3 is so important, and A5 makes it so her ult does even more damage. And then you can imagine it's just insane. You can actually hit the auto button, and the whole game will just things will disappear in front of your eyes. So, but
And then also, you can also use a Yovar. He's not
yes,
as potent, but he gives the Nyx more damage, right?
yep, indeed. All right. And something we still haven't even touched on because he's not great, but Kratos. The Arbiter faction is respectable in this, especially if you put Ajax in there. But Kratos, I would say probably A-ish. I wouldn't put him higher than A. Um, so, and then the thing is, Pelagios has real promise. I think we're saying probably S, right? S roundabout. So yeah, I think it's pretty fair. And then the thing is that the other arbiters are just all right. We've got Theowin, not Theowin. This is I'm terrible at things. The one that's very close to sounding like Theowin. Yeah.
He is, I think he's lowest tier. And thinking
Okay.
about it now, that we have Valk and Theowin and Pelagios and Ajax, I would believe so.
Oh yeah,
Put
you're gonna
this
put him up?
man up here
All
because
right.
there are
Understand.
quite some Praetor's players in Apex Overlord. There are quite a few.
Sure. No. Yeah. True. I just don't think Praetus himself does much other than his load bonus.
It is mainly the lore bonus, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of lore bonus, these two belows right here
Sure.
are kind of the same, right?
Sure. All right, and then you got Constance, and Constance is great not only for the healing but her inspiration. The only problem, she's pretty expensive. And then you've got the Ajax. Oh yeah, actually, I think but A makes sense. And then you've got the Ajax, which is really good because you can plop him anywhere, and he does great damage, especially if you have his unique. So you're probably gonna put him.
Right here.
What are you thinking? All right, yeah.
Right here.
That's
I
nice.
don't think he's on the same wavelength as these two boys right here.
No, yeah, definitely not. He's great. Yeah. I think that's it for the Arbiter faction. The other two, I don't know if where you'd like to put them, but they're pretty. I can't really see them being used too much, other than the fact that they're literally arbiters. Um, but in it and Hammer Girl, I think probably are like B or C tier.
So Jira, at least she can block, right? And we're gonna put her
Yeah.
here. Enid, I don't see much there. Not in Giselle tier, of course.
Nope.
But there's that. And with that said, we have Maul as well on the Northerners. Now he's kind of ass, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He's C
Yeah.
tier.
Yeah.
Then I think we went through more or less now these comps here. We also have him. He is above Isolde. I would put him now. Where would I put him? Since we have the other lords here at the end,
Okay.
at the very end of A tier.
All right.
Rourke. And now we can finally really get into some of the platform units, some of the mages. We already talked about these two mad lads right here. And the reason is simple. Their range allows them to just spawn trap enemies left and right and burst through wave 3, 4, 5 and just get the enemies shredded out. Whereas someone who I'm really disappointed of for that arena is Anora. Now Anora does not have the range to be able to one-shot wave 3 and 4 before they start moving like these two, and this is really the main thing. And on top of that, her ult is a snap, whereas you want long durations of ult so that ultimate can get multiple waves done in one instance, right?
Indeed.
Which is another reason why these guys are a step above. Now that we know what really are the evaluations for these mages, right? And of course these guys just deal the most damage. Let's just speed run these mages real quick. Osiren,
Yeah.
Giselle tier.
Oh.
Boom.
Oh.
There it is. There it is. Getting her partner right there.
Yeah. I would put Venema up in, or if you want to, I would say Venema S, and then her counterpart, probably S2. They're both very good together. Sure, yeah, sure, that's fine.
He's good with Boreas. She is good with Comet, more or less.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then going on, Curse, or not Curse, Occult. She is Demi sucks. I can't. I know she's got the Lord bonus, but I can't. Low A, high B max. I not a fan of her.
The problem really is that the cultists aren't really the meta either, right?
Yeah. And Vierna, she's pretty solid. I would give her A. She's pretty solid.
Right
lower,
below these guys.
There you go. Yep. Indeed. The other Lord though, she is pretty solid. She's surprisingly good. Definitely better than Demi. So right above Demi if you'd like.
Right above Demi. You heard it here first. Demi getting gapped into oblivion. Now this mad lad, he provides some block. He provides some stuff. Not that much damage though. He's gonna be in A.
Alright.
Then another cursed faction lord.
She's pretty useful actually because you can do a nice combo with Hatsut. So I think low A is respectable for her.
This is kind of the epic lords list here. Here with the low A. Then next up we have more mages. Now these mages are in Anora's level because first up, they don't have that much damage and they can't really do as much. I think even
Yeah.
Greed could actually perform
I'm gonna
quite
be honest. I
well.
think
I
Greed,
think
but
Greed
low
can
A.
actually also work with nightmares, which is nice. The problem with
Oh yeah,
Greed,
no, you're so right about that. No, no, no. I used him in a nightmare comp. 100% low A. He's surprisingly good.
Greed just needs the cost, but because if you're running that nightmare comp, you're gonna run the Cyrene anyways, and
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
you're not going to have any cost issue. So I actually pull him up here.
Yeah,
I'll
he's
pull him up
fantastic.
here.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Then Magda
Mm.
is also great.
Yep.
Magda, I think, is stable. Her faction is holding her down, my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, no, they need better lords. So I think bottom A,
Bottom A,
not maybe
bottom
not
A.
bottom A, middle A,
I think
not
middle
bad.
A is good. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
actually, because she cannot. Greed is really just because of the Nightmare faction up here.
yeah,
Um, and she is just because she is a staple damage dealer.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of the lords, we've got that lord. That is the best lord out of the faction when it comes to AoE. Out of that faction, the cultist faction. So I think yeah, that's very fair.
Very fair. We could actually
Yeah,
put her a bit higher, thinking about it,
sure, sure. Yeah, that's fine.
right here.
Just her damage is not
Is
the best.
kinda, yeah, it's
Yeah.
sad. The
All
goat
right.
himself, get this man out of here. Um, where would you rank him? I'd say B.
B. Yeah. Yeah.
He
Not
has
a fan.
range issues, he has rage issues, he has consistent damage issues.
Yeah,
He's an issue,
man. He's
not in a
yeah,
good way.
yeah, yeah. Um, and then I feel like we can get out these really low tier guys here, like the AI. The AI is yeah. C. Shamir is gonna be maybe Giselle C at least. He's gonna be C. Razak is gonna be C. Scorch is gonna be C. Um, Now the elf lady though, I would say
She
elf lady is
is
probably
A tier at least,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. She's good. She's good.
She's part of a meta team. I think she's
Yeah,
even better than these guys. I think she
I'd give you that.
is a
Yeah,
vital unit for
yeah.
some
All right.
comps.
Cool, cool. And then we got Uncle Zilla over there. I would say Uncle Zilla is a solid C, B. You know.
I think you can give him a B, right?
All right, all right. Yeah,
He,
yeah. He's got a decent faction, so
he's got a
that's nice.
decent faction. He
AOE
provides
damage.
definitely above Uridin. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
is a bit rude towards Uridin, poor guy.
yeah.
Eloin B,
Yeah, Elwood's not bad. Yeah. Um,
Hollow
Hollow probably a little lower than Elwyn. Yeah.
end of B,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And
Imiret
then
now.
I played quite a bit with him because I got, if you want to call it, lucky, and I pulled him. I think he's a good character, and I think you're gonna see him a lot in Arena actually, especially if they have him A1. If they don't have him A1, you're not gonna see him. Because his A1 puts out a huge AoE damage right when you place him, and so it makes it very good for early game. I would say you're probably gonna get high A on this one.
High A. So
Yeah.
I'd say give him the
Maybe not that high. I think there you go. Perfect.
right here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Squeeze him in.
Yeah.
Squeeze him in right here. I think
Mm-mm.
that's a good
Cool.
rating.
Yeah.
And we're done with the Aoe Arena. After how long? 48 hours. 48 hours. 48,
Oh, yeah.
48
Yeah.
minutes.
All
Um,
right.
yeah, I think was the longest. I think we figured it now.
Yeah.
Let's go through which one will you prefer first?
I think might as well give him a bit of a break and do the anti-air, something a little easier. And
All right, so anti-air, pretty simple, pretty simple. What you guys need to know about anti-air is not that much compared to AoE. There's not that many strategies. You just have some single target units, at least a Dolores. Everyone uses Dolores there.
yeah,
And we can just go to my team as well. And you want
yeah.
a Lord, you want some AoE, and some slows if possible, or just some other heavy hitter.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
With that said, uh, lead me through the first
Yeah.
team.
It's either you have one of these two or you don't, and you're not in the high. You need a Racha it's a requirement. I mean, you need a lord for Piercer faction. I would say that she is god tier. Like she is again, she's required. And if you don't have her, you need her boyfriend. Another person who is blind with just like the entire faction practically. Um, and they're both god tier without question. And the thing is, though, when you talk about the units that you're gonna want, it gets a bit spicier because first you're gonna put Nyx. Nyx is truly fantastic. We've already went over why, but she's even better in this. And then you got Silas. I don't even have to tell you why Silas is great, but his ultimates are gonna shred through very important waves that nobody else can do. And then I'm gonna be honest, you got to put the goat up there. You got to put Cratch. Cratch is really gonna. He is probably the best out of the entire faction. I think we forgot to put him on that list there.
I think we did. I think he's
It
just.
was too obvious.
It was too obvious.
Um,
I think he just
yeah,
was like, I'm not gonna stand with these guys because I'm just
yeah.
one step above. So where is he?
I have no idea where he is. Where did he go?
Oh no, he is in there.
Oh, there he
Oh,
is.
he is
Okay,
in there.
okay,
Okay. So
okay.
Cratch. The reason
Yeah,
why Cratch, we're also doing some future anticipation. We know
yeah,
down the line there's a new Watcher lore coming in,
yep.
and Cratch is kind of the key piece to the Watchers.
It's the range. He's
It
got that
is.
unique range. Yep.
So God tier for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Um,
And then you got, I think it's be good transition here because Sargak, he's good for two good reasons. What is no, sorry, Sargak. You picked up Razak.
ah,
Yeah. Because he is going to be at least high S plus.
S
Um,
plus.
yeah, because he's in both. We'll get to chaotic in a sec, but he's very good also in the Piercer faction. Um, And then Pelagios, he's really interesting because you're going to use him in the Piercer faction, but you're also going to use him in the Watcher faction. Or sorry, not Watcher faction. Crap. I can't remember.
Arbiters.
Arbiter faction. Yeah. We've been doing this for a while. Here we go. All right. But speaking of, might as well talk about the other Lord. That's not bad at all. The Epic Lord for is going to get you at least is going to get you into Overlord, so I would say A tier. And then we've got Razak. Razak is not going to get you anywhere ever, so you're going to get high B max. Yeah, pretty much with him,
They're
I
basically
agree.
the same, right? Same unit,
Yeah, except you
different
don't get the
faction.
extended range.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kai. Kai, I don't know. See, I guess it's rough. It's rough time. It's rough. But I will say,
I've seen
go
some
ahead.
Kais actually.
All right.
Now
Well,
they lost always, but I've seen them, so I'm gonna put
sure,
him here.
sure.
He could
I
be
feel this.
better.
I feel the same way about Absent because I've seen Absent teams. I've never lost to one, but I've been surprised by him. So I would put Absent probably B again, but you're gonna see him and you're gonna maybe be surprised. Who knows? Someone you're not gonna be surprised by ever because she's probably one of the worst characters in the entire game. A Laurel is truly you can't you know good luck trying to get any use out of her. I would put her just because I despise her. I'd put her in C, but because I'm making a tier list that people are gonna follow, B.
Laura is B right here.
Yeah, Allura. Yeah.
She
All right.
is right. You have not that many factions. You have not that many strategies. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And she is in two factions that you can use here, right? In the Pierces tier 0 faction, and then Watchers tier 1.5, tier 2 faction, more or less. That's a Pierces tier 0, then
Yeah.
Chaotic tier 1, and then Watcher tier 2. So
Yeah.
she's in two of them.
Yeah. She just doesn't have the damage. That's the problem. And her invisibility does nothing for her because she doesn't get attacked. So.
Someone
And then
has
we
the
got the last
damage.
one. Oh yeah, her. Yeah, she's solid. She's solid. She's gonna get you through a lot of content, but again, she's not gonna get you to the damage of Sargak or something like that. So she's very good, especially in the beginning. But someone who's very bad in the beginning is Calypso, and that's where you need to be good in Arena. And so she is definitely C. And somebody you've probably seen a lot, but you shouldn't have seen is Hex. Hex is I don't know. I'm gonna give Hex maximum like high B because he has high damage, but the problem is a lot of the enemies are resistant to magic. So you're gonna find him hitting like a wet sponge when you really need him the most. So I wouldn't personally ever use him. Um, so, all right, I think that's
100% agree.
oh
100% agree.
Brienne, your wannabe Hatsut. Uh, she's your kind of your B. You know, if you don't have Hatsut and you got really good gear on her, you can probably get her low, mid B, well, wherever you know feel comfortable with her. But
she's stable. She's stable. She
alright.
can surprise you a bit. Then uh, let's just go through this one.
Yeah,
Not much to be said here. We know her. I don't
yeah,
have her, so I don't like her. Let's say it this way. There's one
yeah.
hero that I actually like more. Boom. Sit down, Hatsut. Dolores takes the spot.
Uh,
Now, why does Dolores take the spot real quick? um, Now I can show you guys. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Dolores is not only used from everyone. I mean, what is that? You know, look at that. A lovely skin. I'm
understandable.
not talking about the underboob. I'm talking about her personality here. And she
Yeah,
just has a great personality, doesn't she? And you
yeah.
can
I
see her
agree, man.
personality really shining here. Really shining here.
Yeah,
Now, people use more Hatsut than her,
yeah.
but Hatsut doesn't have the same personality trait. So
Well, I feel like Ivar has got to go above her though, because you either have the Lord or you can't even make Dolores work, right? Dolores only works in the comps where you have those lords. So
she has two good arguments, though. She
she
has two.
does, she does, yeah. Oh, I would put yeah, there you go, yeah.
Makes sense.
All right, and so now might as well talk about Ajax because Ajax is a solid hero. He's kind of in the middle there, yeah. He's gonna be really good in a lot of comps, so you're probably gonna get him S plus. You'd be surprised by how good he is. Even though he does magic damage, he's the fact that he can be in all of them and he gives the bonus now. Yeah, 100%.
There he is.
Yeah,
There he is, right, my boy. He gets the bonus, the Lord bonus, which is a big part. His range is a big part.
yeah,
And he doesn't struggle with the magic damage because he has a lot of shredding in his kit
yeah.
as well. Then let's go through a few of these AoE hitters, right? So
Mm,
Boreas is
yeah.
like Ajax, just not as good as
Okay.
Ajax in terms of the AoE department. And then you have, of course, Nyx, who is better than Ajax. They all fulfill the same role, same as Pelagios. Next, Comet, same as Boreas, just not as good because Boreas has the stuns, he has the range that
Yep.
Comet wishes he would also have. Then,
Yeah.
next AoE hitter. Do we have another AoE hitter?
I
Um,
mean, you could argue Kate has got a
you
good
could
amount of AoE.
you
Yeah.
could argue him, and he is
Yeah.
actually up
Yeah. Kate is
here.
fantastic. Kate is fantastic because, you're not going to see much chaotic here. You're only going to see Gone. With Gone is probably an S because you do nothing except use his Lord bonus, but man, his Lord bonus is fantastic. Um, so definitely Gone is going to be up there. Someone who doesn't have a good Lord bonus and you're still not using my homeboy Valdi, you're probably going to put an A because he's very selfish, doesn't really give much bonus to anybody else. That's really what you're going to see. Uh, I've seen him. I've seen him. I wouldn't put B. Definitely A.
I just wanted to
Um,
see your reaction here.
okay, okay. And then we got the dragon here. Yermit. He's I don't know. I haven't seen him yet, and I haven't used him yet here. So it's really gonna. I'm gonna leave it up to you. What you think he'll do?
I've tried him. His cost is kind of an issue because you want to use him for the same job as these other guys here, but they just hit harder. They just hit harder.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I was thinking, the stuns can help as well, but the damage is really lacking without the ultimate. Um, so yeah, I think he can be happy to be in the same tier as Comet, but Comet does really well for the AoE arena, AoE part of that arena, anti-arena. But he can, of course, the big thing really is also the freeze and the lord bonus that he gets. This.
Yep. And speaking of Lord bonus, I would say that Pope is solid. He's A. Um, the thing is that you're gonna want to use him with Pelagios. If you don't have Pelagios, don't even use Pope. And then you got Init. I can't see Init being super useful. He's gonna give all those people those little things. I'd keep him A. Yeah, I think A is solid. All right. Oh my, yeah. Arrogance is a very solid hero. You wouldn't expect it, but he even works decently well with Torador, but you're not going to see Torador. And then, so I would put Dasami next because Dasami is fantastic in one thing, and that is the next one. So you can put him in S.
Now explain that to me. How does that work?
Okay, so his inspiration is the only inspiration that can hit Nyx in the next team. So that's really why you're going to see him use, and you're not going to see someone like Dolores being used in that comp, which she needs to. Only Dasami. He will give a 20% inspiration, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. And that's where you're going to see him.
Okay, then next up, we have a few more units. Then now we put our Cratch down here. He's not him, of course. We have another AoE hitter. She is going to be B tier. She is one of the Watcher teams, one of the more early game teams. We have the Watcher Lord Leia as well. She's going to be B tier as well, simply because she is a Lord for Idril, for Alora, and all these kind of units. She can work. I used her a lot for it for a long time because in the early game you're not going to get through all of the stages, all 8 stages. So you're not going to place down the 5th hero, so it doesn't really matter if you don't use that Lord. Speaking of the Watchers, we have one promising Watcher, and that is Lucius. Now the problem with Lucius is I'm still going to put him low B tier. What? Can you imagine that? Reason is simple. You want damage on demand, like Silas does. You want to time your damage. It's really important to time your damage. Time it. And Lucius cannot time his damage. His damage really comes from the demonic stance compared to his ultimate, whereas Silas just rinses everything down with his ultimate. Has the better fraction, has more range. This is really the difference maker here.
And we got, okay, this guy, I would, if you have his unique, I would put him God tier. If you do not, you're going to put him S+. He is truly fantastic. He does a little bit of damage, but it's all about the slows he puts out. And so, same with Mari.
Same with Mari. Now, Mari and him, they're both, like, either one is getting used.
Yeah.
Again, don't look at this team here. It's unequipped in the defense. But, yeah, so you either use Theowin or Mari in your defense for the slows. And you can see it everywhere, right? You can see it if you go here, Apex Overlord. Proper people use proper teams. Theowin and Mari, these two are kind of your go-to slowers. Theowin one step above Mari, in my opinion. I think
because Theowin, not only because of his unique, but Theowin gets his ult faster, and so that's really important.
And like you said, his exclusive artifact will be able to apply vulnerability.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. And then these two are kind of alright. They're a bit cheesy. So probably B for Elf Lady there, and also probably B for her too.
B for her too. Now you can use some cheese here and there with the hot soot.
Hot soot, yeah.
Just
but if you don't have hot soot, unusable. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it for the AoE anti-air arena. It's been a long day. And now to the final arena, and that is the single target arena. And here it is again kind of a spawn trap strategy that you want to set up. You really want to just spawn trap these enemies. There's different teams, different lineups that you're gonna talk about. You will have the chaotics, the infernal, you have arbiters, and then you have nightmares. You can use somewhat piercers, you can use somewhat watchers as well, but these are kind of the teams. And now, starting off with that, I don't think even we need to go over the team specific before we just place down our two
Hell yeah.
highest
Now we're
scored
talking.
heroes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
These two. Uh,
Those two, yeah.
Tell me about it.
Here's the thing is that Pope is a little bit worse, but I think only for now because he doesn't have the faction allies to really support him. Unlike obviously, Chaotic is chock full of perfect single target damage dealers. And so that's why you're going to get Valdi, and also Valdi just destroys. Whenever I use Valdi in my team comps, he's getting at least 70% of the damage. It's insane. I've also got Ardea and I've got Sargak. It's not even close. So speaking of which, I think we should start out with Chaotic and probably plop down my second favorite character in the game, Valeria. Valeria is too easy S tier. Maybe the best character if you're one of the newer ones, right? Like she is the character that gets you into arena, and gives you a chance. She is so great. She is so cheap, and her ultimate hits like a truck. And that ability to heal herself makes it so that she's useful if you have, for instance, I don't even have Gone. She is my tank whenever I use my chaotic comp because if you put her a little bit of healing or a little bit of HP on her. She can self heal and take all the hits for the entire game. It's insane. She's fantastic. And speaking of fantastic characters, Ardea, especially if you have Ardea's A1, which gives a 10% defense reduction, she gets even better in this. But she's just a beast. The only problem is you can't control her ults. Someone who you can control the ults for, though, that is surprising. I don't know. I think that he's surprisingly good. Is uh, Carnelian. Carnelian. I don't entirely understand why she is almost as good as Dasami, but she really is. Even though she has very little range. I don't know. I would put her in um, kind of like the A territory because she gives out no inspiration and her range is terrible, but she is surprisingly good, and it's really just because she has the chaotic tag and she's able to keep those guys alive. Someone who's very good though is Sargak. Sargak is going to not do as much damage as Ardea, but pretty much you're going to want to put him in S tier because he's like
S plus, right?
Ardea, oh sorry, S plus, my bad. You either have Ardea, Sargak, or Luguru. Speaking of which, Luguru is a fantastic character. Maybe the best damage dealer when it comes to non-lord in the chaotic faction. He is truly he's scary. Obviously we can't not talk about my favorite healer in the game. S tier, Dasami. Dasami's super great. Maybe even S plus, it depends. Um, but I think he's truly fantastic in this. Gone though, Gone has been power crept a little bit. So you're probably gonna put him in the lower god. Not as good as Valdi and not as good as Praetus, but still truly fantastic. And you don't even need a healer on him most of the time. He can take all the hits. Um, I think that's for chaotic. Am I missing anybody?
No, I think that's good for now. Now,
Okay.
we have these chaotic units here, and
Yeah.
with that said, let's take a look here at the teams now, so you guys understand basically the single target. How the single target works mainly for most people is you have damage dealers,
Yeah.
you have some healer, someone who can block, and maybe provide some utility. And this is
I'm gonna be honest
always the
though.
same.
Now healers, you're not gonna find as many healers.
You see,
At the chaotic.
I come back to that as well, right? But it is basically you have a lord, you build your team around that lord, uh, and then in that lord, and then you just stack some utility. Mostly, the utility comes from Cyrene, from most people, or you can also, of course, like mentioned here, place the Sami. You can also place a Dolores or a Constance as an attack buffer, and then get the heaviest hitters in. And first up, we have here the chaotics. Now in terms of the lords, let's just go through the lords, and then we go through utility, and then we go through the damage dealers. So we already spoke about these lords. They're kind of the goats, especially these two are kind of the goats. They're just one step above. You will see, you will not be able to compete with these, because he just one-shots enemies with one auto hit, and he on the offense one-shots everyone with the Lord bonus. He doesn't even need to auto hit. It's simple. It is simple. Lugaru, what I wanted to mention about that is the reason why he's so nuts is basically not, where is it? I think it's the talent. Yeah, it is the talent that he just every few seconds gets a huge hit. And because nowadays people just one-shot these enemies, you're just gonna have him there waiting, have his huge hit stacked up, and once the enemy walks out, he just gets the huge hit and just does an insane amount of damage, right? That's why he is the hardest hitting non-lord in single target at the moment. Then another lord is going to be Yovar. Now Yovar is mainly for your Silas. He's going to be A tier. The third best team comp is going to be the Nightmares. And then we have Torodor as their lord. Because they're the third best, he's going to be in S plus tier. I would even put him up here.
Yeah, mostly because of his defense reduction on his basic attack is huge and is fantastic.
Exactly, and he just enables these nightmare teams to really, like, if you don't have him, you often also want to go resort to something else. Then we have Solkadance. He's one step above Yovar, but not as good as Torodor. He has a good faction, but he's mainly the showman for them.
You're not really gonna see this guy much. You're got B maximum. Again, just because there's a Zilla 2 on the team, which is not bad at all. And I guess Mika now, but he's not gonna do much himself.
He's more for the vulnerability and for the lord bonus. Another lords we have is him. Where would you put him?
All right, so I'm gonna be honest. I feel like high B, probably bet. Probably higher than him.
Right here.
Yeah, just because he's chaotic. That's it. Nothing else.
Okay, fair enough. So Vladov is gonna be B. Then we have Rev, who is actually quite good, even though he is just an epic lord. So I will put him here. He can be placed as first unit. He can self-sustain. Helps you a lot with the cost. There's just one problem with the cost that we're gonna go over. Why he kinda also got out of favor.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So I think you guys will be surprised to see this, but I am every time I lose to him. So at least an A, higher A. Yeah. I don't know why. I still don't know why, because his faction isn't the best. He's only got Ardea, but man, and he's got can't remember his name. Nocturne. Nocturne is surprisingly good for this, because of his true damage, and so I would keep him A. I think A is very fair for him.
And then we have her. Now she is not gonna be really relevant. Would put her in C tier. Even if you use a Silas, you're better off just using one more unit instead of her for just her lore bonus. Then next up we have Leia. I'm sorry, Shoddy. Watchers are just not that prevalent. Our new Watcher boy will have the same problem here as he has in the anti-air, kinda. So she is, for the moment, C tier, but she has potential.
Oh, no, we have, I don't know why she's on here, but we have the epic Piercer. Man, yeah, I think she's probably gonna go low C. She's, she's really not great. But if you have Silas, you got Silas, and that's the only reason why she's even up here. So
Lunaria. I mean, her damage is decent for the early game, but she falls off a cliff, right?
Oh yeah.
Now that we kind of have established these kind of lords as well, I have one unit that I want to talk about now, that is a banger unit, super good unit, better than Xylus for that arena.
Yeah.
And the reason why I came up with this unit is I didn't really came up with it. You came up with her. So lead me through her.
Well, that's the thing is that she's got this beautiful burst and she's getting that S tier because unlike Silas, Silas doesn't she is able to whenever there's an enemy not on the screen, aka when you kill someone and you're waiting for the next enemy to come, she charges up. And so she hits right when they walk out, she smacks them with like three different orbs. She's able to put curse. Curse doesn't really matter all that much, but that's the main thing is that she really takes advantage of the time delay from either rounds or if you kill them fast enough, the time delay between enemies. So she does in my testing, she did more damage than Silas. So
The
the
thing about Serafina is really that she stacks up these Mystic Flames, and when she has them stacked up, first up, she gets a huge attack increase,
yeah,
and that makes her really break through defense relatively easily,
mm,
which is a big factor in the later stages, which is
yeah,
why she performs so well in the later stages. And because when she has so much time to spawn trap enemies, she can just build up her damage. Like, shh, when they come in, she nukes them. Then she builds up that damage again, nukes again, and she is better than Silas, guys. She is
yeah,
better than Silas. This is why I have her in here in my team, unequipped, of course, as I always do. Um,
yeah.
but she is amazing, really. So Serafina, if she had a faction, if she had a different faction, she
Oh,
would be
yeah.
even
She'd be a
further up.
monster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she'd be mental. Then let's go through a few single units first. Dolores,
yeah.
where would you put Dolores?
Dolores is very good, but not as good as the other one. So I'd say S. You're not really gonna find her in the top tier ones.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And another thing, a unit that is
Ah,
now I know,
can't do it to him. You can't do
I
it
do
to
it to
him.
him. I
You
do it to
can't
him.
do it to
There we
him.
go. Cyrene, God tier, the best. She is the GOAT. She is so flipping good for single target arena. There she is. There she is. She's everywhere. Um, she is. It's just amazing. You know. Look at her. Don't tell me. Don't do it to me. Don't tell me. Don't do it to Valderan.
But she's so
Stats
much more
don't
common.
lie.
She's more common. She's like way more common. So
Stats don't lie.
yeah, no,
Not that uncommon in Apex Overlord. Like there's only whales in there.
sure,
Hmm.
sure. You're probably right
Good
about that.
counter
Yeah,
argument right there.
yeah.
Good
But
fucking counter argument right
that's
there.
that's the problem with her is that she's the only character who can spawn trap in the game right now. She's the only one who could do it that you're actually going to use. And the moment there's someone else, we'll see. But right now, she is required for literally any spawn trapping situation, and spawn trapping is how you're going to get to Apex. You can get to Overlord without spawn trapping, but you cannot get to Apex without spawn trapping. That's just a fact. So,
She's goated. She has 10 cost. She generates the cost. You can cost generation in here. You build her as a tank. You give her the lunacy visor. And even if you have good gear, you can also give her a morale set, like we
yeah.
said, in the other arena as well. She is a
Make
menace. She's the
yeah.
goat. I'm
Just
sorry,
make sure
Valder.
that she's got good attack speed and rage regen though. So don't
Exactly.
forget about those. Yeah. So
Rage is the key here. That's what
mm-mm,
the only reason why you use her.
yeah.
Budget
Okay.
Cyrene is going to be Gluttony. Now Gluttony has been decent, but he has gotten out of favor because of Cyrene, because she does his job just better,
Yep.
which is why he has really fallen off. He is still good, he's still usable, but for 90% of the people I would recommend, 99% of the people I would recommend is Cyrene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go through the factions. Let's go through factions.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that's the thing. The number two faction right now is Arbiter, and a huge component of that is
Both of
Alistair.
them,
Alistair.
both of them are tier zero. Just they're pretty much on the same spot, just
Sure.
slightly.
Yeah. 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 No, slightly. Yeah. But fast forward a little bit, it'll be different. But Alistair is a huge component that you're definitely got to put him in at least high S, if not low S plus tier, because he is, I think, one of the only single target damage dealers that's
Mhm.
out right now, if not the only one, um, other than Praetus, of course. And then you've got Constance. Constance is going to be huge because she's not only going to heal, you're not going to want to use her to block, but the inspiration is what you really love her for. And yeah, you're going to put her S plus.
Now, Constance
Um,
is gonna be, together with Praetus, the key to the Arbiters, right?
yeah.
Because Constance will be there to be your healer. Um,
Hmm.
Constance will be there to give you the inspirations for Praetus to just one-shot units with his lightning strikes, and
Yeah.
she is really what makes this, together with Praetus, and Cyrene is also a huge factor.
And it's gonna get even better with her unique too, because her unique will
Mhm,
allow her to inspire and heal at the same time, which was Praetus's, I'd say, biggest weakness as a right now in their comps.
mhm,
So
mhm. And
yeah.
but you don't really need to heal that much because they just evaporate, right? That's the thing.
Sure.
And because they evaporate, healers are not required that much.
Yeah,
She doesn't
no.
provide much other than being that extra arbiter. One that provides a lot, and I think one that
Oh,
will replace
huge.
Alistair
Yeah,
is gonna be Init.
yeah.
Now Init,
In it, man.
he is.
He's about as good as it gets. He's supporting, he's giving damage increases, he's making it so that you're able to just have insane single target from everybody. And I don't know, I think he's gonna be a required one, so thank God he's free. Uh, so that's nice.
I mean,
But
he is free, but goddamn, these people be grinding these Oracle's trials. I'm not able to get that last win here.
yeah, Joe's just got to that, so she's working on that right now.
Okay,
So
nice.
yeah,
Now, you can also now use some other arbiters. They're a bit lower tier. They're just
yeah,
there um, to be there. One of them is Valk. The other one, the worst version of Valk, pretty much for everything, is Thalen,
yeah,
poor guy.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Valk will be not used at all the moment Hammer Girl jar comes out, though. Um, it's because Valkyrie does zero damage, but Hammer, on the other hand, man, she rocks. I think she's gonna be S, and when she comes out, I think she's gonna easily replace Valkyria. But
I think Jira will stay here. Um, I'm not
mm,
that high on her, I'll be honest. If we
sure,
if
I
we go
understand.
take a look here at the Praetus teams, the reason why I'm not that high is, of course, the first three are all veterans as far as I remember.
Mm-mm. You go.
There we go. So the reason why I'm not that high on her is you're not really using a tank, you're just using Cyrene. And
Yeah,
she only does damage when she takes damage.
yeah,
So most people will just put an init in here, or they will put someone like a Eloin in here, or just anything to really get the job done. What you can do with Jira though is you can kinda put her in after the cost has been generated from Zyrene. So when
mm,
I did my testing, um, this is kind of how she works. You can just let Cyrene do her job, then swap her out, and then later put Cyrene back just for good measure.
that's what I thought would be the best. Yeah.
Exactly. But in the end, just like Valk, just like Alistair, they're just all side characters to the main character right here.
Sure. Yeah.
That's just how it is. Um,
Yeah. His true damage at the end, those last enemies have huge defense. His true damage is required. It's what makes him so special.
and his high attack also just
Yeah.
makes it easy. Then next up, which ones do you want to go over? Nightmares or Infernals?
Yeah, might as well do Nightmare real quick. Arrogance though, I would say Arrogance is A. Even though you're not going to see him in Apex, he is very useful for practically early overlord, and for most accounts who are not gonna be wailing out, he is a great option. There's no denying that. And speaking of someone who I found very interesting is Ares, and I want to see where he's gonna land. But I feel like at least for now, I would put him in A, um, because I would say low A, because you need to use Torador, but I don't know, it feels like for people who have Wrath, he's gonna be like a requirement if you want to get anywhere in Arena using Nightmare. So low A for me.
Low A. Sounds fair, sounds fair. He really
Yeah,
suffers from that Torodor syndrome, kinda everywhere. Torodor Volca
yeah,
syndrome. They
yeah,
just do his job, and they're two amazing units. So he's like there. Yeah, I'm here,
indeed.
but kinda not.
Yeah, well, speaking of someone who's surprisingly good is Salazar. I actually saw Salazar today in a top 50 comp. He's not the greatest, but that S tier, because his ult is able, probably lower S tier. His ult is so good to cleaning off that last enemy. Because if you're spawn camping, the last enemy is all that really matters, and that's what he's really good at. Someone who doesn't have the damage though is definitely Lust. Lust is she gives a little bit of rage gen, but you're probably going to put her in B because the damage is not there. Um, and also you got Kineza. I've actually seen a good amount of Kineza teams at the lower end, but she can kind of work like a pseudo tank and do a little bit of damage. So you're probably gonna get lower kind of, yeah, right there, A tier, yeah. Um,
Who do
and
you
then
think is better, Kineza or Arrogance?
definitely arrogance, definitely arrogance, because you can put arrogance behind a tank.
Hmm.
So, but and then you've got Volca. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really see Volca being very useful at all. But she's not like she's uh, you know, Nightmare is good enough. She's a nice assist to that. So definitely, yeah, your C tier. Um, yeah, Abomination right next to her, cuddling up with her. I think it's pretty fair. And then him, yeah,
Problem with Deimos is really he wants to ramp up his damage. You don't get time to ramp up. You want to one-shot them, right?
yeah, yeah, pretty much. All right, and then we got two more. We got someone who you might be surprised to hear, Hatsut. Hatsut again is reason why you're going to see her here is because her ult is going to be real juicy, and you're probably going to put her in the A tier, lower A tier. But she's really able to finish off those enemies. Definitely lower than that. Probably behind Wrath. Yeah, there you go. Um, I again, she's not useful outside of her ult, but her ult gets is nice in the beginning rounds, especially. All right. One more. You can talk about it because I don't know really anything about him.
Yeah, I trusted him, Magnus. He does surprisingly really well in not just AoE Arena, but also in single target, simply because he has 8k attack. Bro's a menace with that attack, and he hits hard. And I think he, thinking about it, um, should be around here.
Sure. Yeah, it makes
I'm put
sense.
him here.
All right.
Then next up, we kind of have Infernals and a few stragglers, right? Infernals and a few stragglers. Now, in terms of Infernals, they're a good team. They get the job done uh, with some specific heroes. Now, Hex has the problem, and that is the defense, and it is the same problem he has really in that arena as in Semra. People that wonder why is Hex such a menace in Guild Boss 1 and in Guild Boss 2 he struggles a bit. It's really the high defenses. He is a piercer with 3.7k attack, right? Which makes him suffer in the later stages, which is why Hex only gets to B tier, really sadly for our boy,
Uh,
who actually I have higher is Zillitu. Now Zillitu is going to be A tier. She is great. Um, when I tested her, compared to the likes of a Seraphine, she doesn't come close.
yeah.
Honestly, it's crazy how well Seraphina performs on her own without the Lord. But she is good. She is good. She is especially good because her ultimate is immediately up. So on deployment, you can also that helps a lot for the first wave. She is gonna be one heck of a unit for that. And then Micah actually performs quite well. Micah performs quite well. I would also put her in lower A tier because she has a few things going for her. And that is really during her ultimate, she ignores 40% of that defense. So while just like Hex, she doesn't have that high attack, she ignores a lot of defense. Plus, she can get a huge burst out with that conflagration, and that can actually be quite useful for that
That's
arena.
pretty huge. Yeah, yeah.
It is. Um, Imani is going to be B tier. She is actually quite good. She is quite good. But of course, compared to the legendaries, she cannot keep up with them. Last one that you kind of can use in Infernals and Northerners is
Yep.
Nocturne. You tested him
Yeah.
more. Where would you put him?
He's definitely A. He's above Hatsut. Maybe slightly above Wrath, I would say. He's fair. I have been surprised by how scary he can be at times if you have him built correctly. And again, it's his true damage. At the end, he's able to just shred through a lot of enemies. He's just like a worse version of Pope. And I think he's a solid unit.
Solid, solid. And then
Yeah.
Pharisee, also of the Infernal faction. Now, Pharisee is not really that vital, so which is why I'm gonna put her in C. Simple.
Yep.
One way better healer for a single target is gonna be Eloin. Now, the top teams do not require Eloin, but a lot of other teams really like Eloin, and even top teams can use Eloin. It's not
Yeah.
like they don't need to, they really can. And if you go take a look, some of the top players are even in single target with chaotic heroes using an Eloin that I've seen just here, rank 1 Eloin. Now
That's
he has
crazy.
an
Yeah.
A4 Eloin, which is kind of mental. Um,
Mm.
thinking of this, thinking of this right now. I was gonna put her in A tier, but
Yeah, I think S is
I
fair.
think S is off is
Yeah.
kind of valid, right? Because she is for so many teams just a good option, just a staple option.
Totally. Totally. I agree.
Budget value, budget Eloin, Hollow is
Yeah.
therefore gonna be low A tier or B, high B. What do you think of that?
I'd put her above the Watcher healer in A.
Above the Watcher healing area, that's
Yeah,
fair.
because that rage regen is pretty important.
That rage regen is important, that's true.
Yeah,
Then Falcia, real quick.
yeah. I don't know. To be honest, I'm gonna give her like high B, low A because she has a little bit of true damage, so that's nice. But yeah, I guess probably B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Falcia is a shit show to me. I hate her.
Okay. All right. All right.
Can't stand her.
Yeah.
The fact that she's above Leia pisses me off. Um, now we have two similar heroes here again.
Yeah.
We have two similar heroes here, and two completely different rankings. Now lead me through both of them. First we place
Yeah.
them and then we talk about them.
All right. So Silas definitely gonna put S. Um, high S.
Right.
Under Desomi. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. And then Cowboy here, I don't know. I think we're probably gonna put him in like,
Real quick about Lucius, guys. I tested him now in depth in Arena single target, and I say he deserves an A tier. There is something that could push him even higher, but I need to talk about this with Moonton. I can't go in detail, unfortunately, about that, but because then I would leak some stuff that I'm not allowed to. But for now, he's gonna be A tier. And in the offense, you can still play around him to make sure that he won't use his ultimate for that, and therefore in the offense will be working wonderful. So yeah, there's that. And with that said, I think we did it. We did it. These are the
yeah,
three lists.
yeah.
You happy with
Woo.
it?
This is great. This is something you can show to your mama. This is some good stuff.
You
Yeah,
heard it here first. Show it to your mom, guys.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining out. Huh?
Yeah.
Make sure to um, check out Jordan and J&Gio, their channel. They do amazing content. A lot of AoE Arena, not AoE Arena, AoE content, as he is, as you just noticed from his opinions, from his knowledge and everything. He is
Yeah.
an expert. Huh? You can see it in his rankings, and overall, just also amazing content. For sure, go check that out. And
Appreciate it.
any last words from your side?
No, I just had a lot of fun giving my opinion and stuff like that, and having a good conversation about my favorite game mode. So.